Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Lighthouse sessions. Today, I'm excited. I have my old friend, my friend who's been a friend for a while, Mike Verret, with me. And Mike has the distinction of making me cool by association with my kids. So, Mike, we're going to dive into naming dinosaurs, but why don't you just tell my audience a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. I over my career I realized that something's broken in corporate level businesses all the way down to solopreneurs. Businesses don't know how to talk about themselves. They know everything about their business, and that instantly insulates them from the outside world and what the audience, their customer, is actually taking away from it. If you know 100% of something and your audience only needs to know 5%, how are you expected to find that 5% out of 100? And I always use the example of an author who writes a book. The first thing the author is going to do when he's done is hand it to someone else to read, simply because the author can't write his own blurb. Every word is important to the author, so he can't extract the 3 paragraphs to sell the book.
I think I
But
read that about Stephen King,
he
actually.
does it regularly. Most professional authors do it that way, because if I were to read the book, I could write it in 10 minutes. That's because I have the audience perspective. And what most companies lack is the ability to develop content, sell the right way, market the right way, without thinking about what their audience actually needs to hear and the order that they need to hear it. And it is in every business that I talk to, whether it's a single person in, working on their own, it's somebody who's running a startup, all the way up to the level of, I used to work at Hasbro Toys. Even there, the same problem persisted. We are doing all this research. We're doing all of these insights. We do focus groups. We used to call it the fun lab. And we were taking them at their word, what these people are saying. Okay, so we should do this. Here's the truth about research. If you get a quantitative survey for whatever it is, let's say it's for a Hasbro toy, there is never not an incentive. There is always an incentive to fill out the quantitative survey. It could be a $10 Amazon gift card.
Yeah.
Are you really taking the survey seriously? Or are you getting the $20 Amazon gift card, right? Qualitative research. What if somebody had a bad day and you're asking them to explain something when they're in a bad mood? Tough to do. Focus groups are easier because you can see the people and see how they react to things. But at the end of the day, it lacks what you and I were talking about earlier, human nature and common sense.
Yeah.
Any human, when you're talking to them, is an audience. The CEO could get up on stage, present to the company. When he goes and sits down, he turns into a human being who needs to hear a story the right way. So that's what I focus on, is giving businesses one way to talk about what they do that makes them stand out as different. I end up getting rid of a lot of the business cards that I receive because I don't remember the exchange. I don't remember the person who gave it to me, right? But if someone can say something memorable that's going to click and I'm going to follow along with what they're saying about their business, the next time I look at that card, it's an instant recall to that conversation. And that should be how a business message works. So the people who are reading their business cards to someone, my name is, my company is, this is what we do, never going to remember that.
Yeah.
So how do you make yourself memorable is the first step in the order of things, right? If you own a PR firm and I say, what do? You tell me I own a PR firm, the hell am I going to ask you next?
Yeah.
What clients do you have?
Well, I want to underline that you said something that is so critical. Your job is to make your business memorable. Most people assume, and I'm going to share this because I was at a networking event this morning. Here's my pitch, ta-da! And most people assume that I'm sitting there listening, enraptured, ready to be enlightened, and I want to buy whatever your widget is. I just didn't know you sold them. And the
a lot of
reality is,
assumptions on the salesperson's part.
I used to do networking events, and I'm worse than you because I would hoard my cards. I literally had a box of cards, and I didn't know which ones to throw out or keep. So they all went in the box, and I wanted to connect with people, but I'm like, I'd look at their card and go, okay, why did I care about a carpet cleaner?
Yeah, who the hell is this?
No
Well,
offense to them.
Well, and it's like I know a lot of people who own or work at PR firms. So if I asked you what you do and you said I own a PR firm, right? I don't have anything else to ask you. But imagine how the dynamic changes in a card exchange, right? A big exchange.
Yeah.
Imagine how the dynamic changes if I ask you what do you do and you tell me I make news matter. It is far more intriguing to start there than I own a PR firm, right?
Yeah.
That forms a connection with the person immediately. They want to know more. And the fact that they're asking to know more sticks up here.
Yeah.
So the next time they see your card, it's going to trigger that idea in their mind. And that's exactly the point of a business card.
Yeah.
It is just a method for people to recall you. They're not just going to call you because they have your card, right? So
well, the funny thing, if I may, Mike, is that there's a lot of talk about what's changed and what's new.
Yep.
I am obsessed with Chet Holmes, and I love his Dream 100. And the magic of that is with what you're talking about. If you're memorable, you don't need tens of thousands of likes and follows. I've seen businesses that have been transformed with 10, 15, 20 avid referral partners.
Yeah. And to get that person engaged and, I'm going to remember this card, you start out with that, get them to say, tell me more, make news matter. And they're going to say, what do you mean? Well, now I've seen so many people leave it to the end of their presentation because a lot of people experience this. It's the insight for your whole business. That should be the second thing you say. Here's what people are going through. So they're going to ask, how do you help them? What do you do to help them? I haven't talked about services. I haven't talked about any of that yet, but I have them following along. I give them my solution in a sentence. It's simply ABC. Yeah. Well, okay, how does that work? And I give them a 3-step process. And I explain services based on that 3-step process. Like they couch nicely under it. Well, what do people get out of working with you? What's the benefit? You give them the benefit of working with you. Can you prove it works? That's anecdotal, is like social proof, testimonials, case studies, things like that. Your about me section, because you're validating everything you just said to them. Trust me, I know, because. So the first 3 things are what matter the most. Get them to say, tell me more, explain who you're helping, and explain your solution.
I love that. And for what it's worth, I've taken a lot of courses on how to create things, and it fascinates me because there's a lot of bad advice. And the worst advice I've ever seen is your first slide is the about me and you list all your credentials. And I'm like, you just put everybody to sleep.
I just posted about that yesterday. But first, let me tell you, and my favorite is when they throw in, and I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about your kids. This isn't about you. This is about me.
Yep.
It's remarkable to me. Like, you're supposed to use your knowledge. It's the same as an author writing a book, right? That author is a business coach. They write a book as an act of passion. Then they put it at the top of their business coach website. Unless you're Danielle Steele or Stephen King, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Nobody cares about the books I've written.
But imagine the power of moving that to the bottom.
Yeah.
After you've shown them their problem, how you solve it, what they get out of it, want to know more, buy my book. It shifts the conversation entirely.
Yeah.
It is a crime of passion to put your book in, unless you're an author. It is a crime of passion to put your book up there, because what the hell are you promoting? I don't know you.
Yeah.
I want to learn from you. So that's a reason to buy the book.
The sad part is there's a lot of people out there who've never written a book or ever, honest to God, read a book, telling authors, here's how you can sell more books. And I counter and say, my world is not about selling books. My world is about educating and entertaining. And if people remember me, they're going to come back.
Yeah.
And you came back. I still remember how you introduced yourself to me. I can't remember how many years ago, Mike.
Like 2 at this point.
But the reality is, if you're that memorable, the second Mike reached out and said, "Hey, Jeff, I'd love to be on your show," the answer was hell yes. Whereas if I'm going to be blunt, I get a lot of people that remember me more than I remembered them.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, I want to talk about this, this, this." And they give me their bio. And I'm like, I don't know why I'd want you on the show. You're boring me with your outreach.
Yeah. Like, how about you have a productive conversation first and see if there's something there, not just, I want to be on your show because.
Well, and just for reference for people, this applies to everything in business. Mike is memorable. I remember him because it's his job. I think you used 2 sentences and I said, hell yeah, let's go. Whereas I had one, I'm not kidding. The guy sent me an email that was 3 screens long. And by the end of it, I was like, God, no.
Yeah. It just happened on a Zoom call. Somebody put 5 paragraphs of what they do and then their contact information. I'm like, I'm talking to the people on Zoom.
Yeah.
When am I going to read that 5 paragraphs?
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. It's I think it was Blaise Pascal said, "I apologize for the length of this letter. It would be shorter if I'd had more time." And I think that's what people miss, is that it's not, and I'm going to blame high school or grade school English. All of our essays had to be X number of words, and you're always looking for filler. I think we've learned some really bad habits. But your first outreach was, I named a dinosaur. You want to hear about it? Hell yes.
It's a cheat code. It's kind of when a salesperson calls and leaves a message like, hey, I ran into somebody who knows you. You got to give me a call.
Yeah.
My leverage just happens to be from the movie Jurassic World. And I ended up naming Indominus Rex, the big bad dinosaur at the end, throughout the movie. Yeah. But the way it came about was very interesting. We caught wind that they originally were naming the dinosaur Diabolus Rex. So someone in the PR group had the common sense to look up Diabolus Rex. And the only result was the president of the Church of Satan, this dude who had horn implants, and we're selling toys to 2 and 3-year-olds.
Yeah, satanic worship and toys don't go hand in hand.
If mom goes and searches Diabolus Rex, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. So we brought it to their attention, and their reaction is what mine would have been, right? If we're the licensee and they're the licensor, we work for them basically. Yeah. Well, if you want us to change it, you're going to have to come up with something else. And I immediately feel like I'm going to have to sell something. So me and a copywriter, we went in a room and put a bunch of Latin words next to Rex. And I decided that Indominus was perfect because it was almost like foreshadowing. Bad guy gets his in the end, the irony, and Indominus means unconquerable.
Yeah.
This is 4 hours after the problem is pointed out. We get on a conference call. This is pre-Zoom. We get on a conference call, and now there's the VP of licensing, our contact, a marketing director, and even a screenwriter are all on the call. And they go, okay, we're all here. What do you got? So I'm thinking I'm going to have to sell them. And I say, the name we really recommend, we think fits perfectly, is Indominus Rex. And before I said anything further, I hear, oh, thank God, it's so much better than the rubbish we were coming up with. Can you email that over? We got to go. And that was it.
You're ready for a battle.
People had 15 minutes of fame. I had about 7 seconds.
He didn't even get 10 to gloat, right?
No. It's just a funny story. It actually illustrates what I do for a living. Yeah. Somebody on that side is thinking, this is great. It's going to be scary. We're making a movie about dinosaurs. Rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
But when they think about the audience, even things like character names make a big difference. Well, everything has to be seen through the lens of the audience. That's why, detectives say, walk in the perpetrator's shoes, suspect's shoes. You have to think like your audience. And anything that's miscommunicated to your audience in the wrong way, they shut off. They're looking at their cell phone. It's just like the paragraph bio that you received.
Yeah.
You're like, I'll finish the rest later. I got to finish this rerun of Seinfeld.
It got pushed back in my inbox a few times. I'll be honest. I was like, oh, I have ADHD. Give me 10 paragraphs.
I'm right with you, buddy.
I'm not going to make it through. I'll want to.
Yeah.
But
I honestly think that's why my mind works the way it does, is I have just to understand it. I have to condense what somebody tells me into a very simple narrative with concrete examples. That's what I have to do for myself. So that's how I stay on focus. But I've got the same problem you do. It's, talking to you and wondering if I took the clothes out of the dryer, like all happening at the same
tea
time.
kettle off. Oh crap. Yeah. I joke that I'm baffled and foiled by socks. Something as simple as socks. I need to sit down and put them on because I have a back issue, and I'll carry my socks around for an hour, and I'll be like, oh, I should put my socks on, and then I'll put them down, and then I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to spend another hour looking for my socks, and I'm like, so this morning I was like, why don't I just put a bench near where my socks are?
There you go. I just saw a TikTok video of how to cure ADHD when doing the dishes, and this woman literally tied a leash to the dishwasher so she couldn't walk away.
Yes, my wife wonders why I don't cook, and the reason is if I have to time multiple things, I've usually forgotten to turn one of them on, and then nothing comes out. Anyways.
Yep.
So let's talk about audience, because you and I were talking about this before we went live. And I have a very controversial view, and something tells me you're going to agree with it. My personal belief, and I'm sorry to say this, but I can listen to somebody in a networking event, online, wherever it is, and I can actually bet whether their business is going to succeed or fail based on how they describe who they serve. Or more appropriately, they don't know how to describe who they serve. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they're building a roller coaster and then trying to build the theme park around it. It's almost like hope is a tactic, right? I mean, what they need to be focused on is exactly how that customer thinks. And quick tip, if you could figure out the motivation of your customer, what they need, the first thing out of your mouth should align with it. Go back to my PR example. Well, my news has to matter.
Yeah.
It can't fall on deaf ears, right? So I'm speaking to their motivation, not their solution. You mentioned the plumber earlier at one of those big networking events that's mostly financial advisors and accountants.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that it's almost like it's long and drawn out because you find yourself just sitting there listening the whole time.
Yeah.
When in reality, what you need to take away from it is, okay, I'm not just an accountant. I'm an accountant who speaks to a certain type of person and what they need is. So that accountant may be saying most solopreneurs, they're really good at what they do and really bad at running the business. Note my hand up. So that becomes understanding your customer, right? So what is the motivational statement that you want to place there has something to do with keep your mind specialty running and don't let your business run in circles, right? I stop businesses from running in circles. Okay, how do you do that is the next question. So if I'm speaking to their motivation, if water's on the floor in the kitchen and you very clearly need a plumber, time stands still when it comes to water on the floor. If it's a light bulb, you'll change it on Saturday. If you go on Google and look up plumber near me, the first 3 results say we're a plumber, but the 4th result says we know how it feels, we'll be there in 5 minutes. Which plumber are you going to click on is ultimately, or contact is ultimately going to come down to that. Yep. One immediately understands what you're going through versus the others who are sharing their solution and not aligning with the motivation and insight.
I love it. And one thing I want to underline, you and I, by default, we talk a lot about networking because that is the original old school marketing. I think a lot of people closed a lot of deals in networking. But if you look at marketing, a lot of people believe that people buy based on features. And yeah, you're laughing too. I'm sorry, whoever's selling that pitch, you're wrong, because I don't care what size of engine is in my car. I just want to know, is it safe? And, will it have some weird tech that's going to end when AI updates or something crazy,
Yeah. I saw that. My role at Hasbro for 3 years was on the franchise marketing team for the games segment, preschool, family, kid gaming, what have you.
Yeah.
And at these shows, the toy fairs where the trade comes in to see what we have to offer, all of the other brands like Transformers, My Little Pony, Nerf, they've got spokesmodels and demonstrators for how the product works.
Yeah.
I step into the mind of a buyer. That buyer already knows how much it costs, what's in the box, and how many they can fit on the shelf at Walmart. Yeah. They are not there to learn about the toys themselves. They have 6 minutes and I have 400 games.
Oh.
Okay? How the hell am I supposed to explain this all to them? Well, it came down to the fact that they're there, like I just said, to see and feel what we're going to do about it. So let's say the theme of the year is going to be the joy of connection. I am going to plant the idea of the joy of connection and what it means to a family, let's say, or, how people come together. I'm going to plant it in the first 30 seconds. The next 5 minutes, I'm going to substantiate it through each section and show how the connection will come to life. And at the end, I show them the benefits to the first thing I told them. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them what you just told them.
Yeah.
I could get that all in 6 minutes. I communicated the right message to them that backed up the joy of connection, and sales would go up 10%.
And my guess was other people were thinking, how do we list off 400 games?
Like they already know it's Monopoly.
Yeah.
You already know there's a thimble in the box. You don't need to show it to them.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff when you get stuck in features and services, in our case. When you get stuck in your services, you're going down a rabbit hole. Like, again, I'm a PR firm and here's what I do. It's like, great. That sounds like every PR firm I've ever met. I'll give you a great example of this and the importance of talking to your audience, okay? Most business audience think in terms of mission statements, objectives, strategy, that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. So we had a challenge for games that focused on increase our presence in social media, both paid and organic. That was the ask that I circulated out to agencies.
Yeah.
I picked one agency that I knew would do it right, and 3 that I figured they'd fuck it up. Excuse me, mess it up. The first 3 come in and they quite literally read their capabilities to me that are on their website. Here's our team, our philosophy. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, I asked you to come here after reading your website, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the fourth one comes in. And instantly his goal is to humanize the ask. All right. So it's no longer this increase our presence on social media, right? He has that on a screen in Times New Roman font, white background, in quotes.
Yeah.
Takes out his phone, says, how many people know what this represents? And all of us are saying, scrolling our phone. Yeah. Great. So when you stop your thumb on something, what does it mean? We found something that engages us. So you asked us to come in here and show you how to stop the scroll. Every single person in the room was like, shit, that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
And all you had to do was come in and humanize it for them and show them he recognizes the problem and makes them feel it because they're human beings. He just showed them 2 distinctly human, not business related, human related actions that translated what we're saying in our minds as a business objective into that's exactly the customer behavior we want to incite.
Well, and I think I always look at what's so I can't remember the source of the quote, but it's one of my favorites. It's reward the behavior we want repeated.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was meant to be a management tool, and it was sort of for business coaching, but
and dogs,
yeah. But the aha moment isn't that what we should be doing with everybody, especially our clients? And honestly, if you don't know the behavior, how the hell do you build marketing, sales, God forbid, products? Like, everything is so dependent on. I love Dan Kennedy. He talks about, you have to join the conversation already going on in their heads.
Yep.
Most marketing is, drop whatever you're doing and come listen to me. I got a pitch for you.
Pushing versus being pulled in.
Yeah. And I love the idea. And I'm obsessed with magnetic marketing, one of my favorite Dan Kennedy books, because when you're magnetic and you're interesting, people are lining up. It's like the line outside a club or a restaurant. People walk by going, "Ooh, it must be busy. I want to wait."
Must be a good place. Exactly. I mean, and the hardest part for a lot of those businesses is, yes, they understand their market, but they understand the motivation of their market. So yeah. I worked with a plant-based cafe, has 2 locations, one in DC, one in Virginia somewhere. And they're called Fruitive, Fruit IVE. The way they position themselves is, we're a plant-based cafe. Here's how we do it. Here's the menu, blah, blah, blah. What he knows of his customer base is essentially that they are vegan or vegetarian, right? I look up a bunch of other plant-based cafes and restaurants. They all say the exact same thing, right? Yeah. So we have to get to know, first of all, understand his business. It's supposed to be like a 10 to 15 minute experience. It's not fast food, and it's not timed for 45 minutes. So you've got people on the go grabbing what they want to grab, quick meal, that kind of thing. And what you're not pushing on, like they don't have many options for plant-based, right? So if they see one plant-based business or restaurant, they're just going to think, okay, that one works for me.
Yeah.
But what about the motivation behind why they are the way they are, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with health. A lot of it has to do with motivating themselves. A lot of it has to do with common choices they made, right? Then I asked him why the name Fruitive. And he said it's a blend of the words fruits and vegetables. I said, it means nothing to anybody until you give it meaning.
Yeah.
So we identified vegan or vegetarian, people who want to go to a plant-based cafe. We've identified who they are. We've identified how they think. How do we attract them? Give an active statement to them about them that relates to Fruitive Cafe. And in this case, it's find your fruitivation. And you are looking for what you want. There's not a lot of options. You need something on the go, and your lifestyle is something that you really try to keep up. Your fruitivation is, come to us and fruitivate your lifestyle. That sounds a hell of a lot different because it's speaking directly to the audience, but it's speaking with a lot more depth of knowledge and including human nature and common sense of exactly what that person is thinking, not just their dietary habits.
Well, it's also invoking the curiosity of what is that?
What the hell is fruitivation?
Yeah. Do I need it? Am I missing out? What's going on? Well, Mike, you and we need to catch up more, and I could talk to you all day, but I do want to be mindful of your time. Where can people connect with you? What's the best way to find out what you do and how to collaborate?
The easiest way to ever get a hold of me, because I'm always spending time there, is LinkedIn. Look for Mike Verret, Verret, and connect with me on LinkedIn or send me a message. And the other way is simply through my email, vapresentations.com. That's V as in Victor.
I love it. Well, and for what it's worth, I'll have those links in the show notes. Is there anything you wish I would have asked?
Wait a second. I think I said the wrong email. This is the detriment to me losing my first email. vapresentations@gmail.com. Is that what I said?
You did the VA presentations. You didn't do the @Gmail. So
at Gmail.
All right. Well, is there
I'm
anything
supposed to be an expert in communication?
Well, it's fair to say I'm distracting because I ask 1,000 questions. Is there anything I should have asked you that I haven't that you want to leave as a parting thought?
I have one parting thought. In all of our businesses, the only thing we actually have control over is our attitude. Like something happens, we choose how we react to it, but we can't stop what happened, right? And choosing the attitude for the moment is a huge part of talking in networking, a customer, a client, even a friend, right? You are reacting to things, you are making decisions based on your attitude. And my advice to everybody is to figure out the attitude of your customer and project in the moment the right attitude to match them. Because that's the true alignment. Those are the two things that's the one thing we can control. Yeah. And if you align on it with someone else, it validates your attitude. So there you have it.
Puts you at the front of the line for decisions. Well, Mike, thank you for hanging out with me, and you will be back, I promise.
Jeff, thank you for having me. Anybody who puts a microphone in front of me, I'm happy. But when it's you, it's extra special. So
I have some other microphones for you, my friend.
Oh, good. Just what I need. Just what they